our off-season program, we are going across the entire NFL, previewing every single team. We are at now the Baltimore Ravens. What we do in this, we go over what happened the previous season, go over some stats, some things that we like, some things we didn't like. We go into the 2025 off season, go over the draft, and then we get into our 2025 season predictions. And like I said, we're going to be with the Baltimore Ravens today. They went 12-5, first in the AFC North, 4 AFC North titles straight, 6-2 at home, 6-3 away. Playoffs, wild card win, 28-14 over the Steelers. And then the divisional loss, 27-25 versus the Bills. 2 costly fumbles from Lamar, I will say that. But then the bounce back drive from Lamar Jackson to drive down the field during kind of like a 2-minute drill fashion, get the Isaiah Likely touchdown, and then on the 2-point conversion to send it into overtime. We have something that Ravens fans will be or probably still up thinking about at night, the Mark Andrews drop. And even before we talk about the drop, the Mark Andrews fumble earlier on in the game where he caught a pass across the middle, and for some reason he did a step back like he was Jamar Chase, and they punched the ball out. So 2 costly fumbles also from Mark Andrews. Costly fumble and then the drop. Tough way to end the season for this Ravens team, who was like all-time dominant.
Yeah, I actually kind of forgot about this, but as I was looking through everything, they actually started out the season not the normal Ravens fashion. They lost the first game to the Chiefs on the Isaiah Likely foot out of bounds, and
tough. Still thinking about that.
And then they go on to lose as 8.5-point favorites to the Raiders, and they lose to Gardner Minshew. So like 2 losses to start out the season that at the very least they should have been 1-1. Inexcusable to lose that game to the Raiders is that big of a favorite. And then
they always seem to drop a weird game, and then everybody kind of panics.
There was a couple weird games they dropped. They lost to the Browns with Jameis Winston as quarterback. What week was that? I don't know what week. And then they lost to the Steelers as well, and which the Steelers is not as crazy just because of it feels like they split a lot with those guys and inside their own division. But the Browns were bad. And thinking about it, if the Ravens end up winning one of those games, they finish the season at 13-4, same record as the Buffalo Bills. They own the head-to-head in the regular season, and the Bills get to play it at home in the playoffs, which I don't know if the outcome is different, but I'm willing to bet that the Ravens would have probably pulled it off playing at home. But who's to say?
At the beginning of the season, if you remember, it was like Monken's coming in to call the offense. Things are going to get out to a slow start. The defense, they lose Mike McDonald. It's going to take a minute for Zach Orr to kind of get these guys into rotation and get this defense fully humming. And I feel like you saw that at the beginning of the year. Obviously, the Browns loss was later in the year, and it was, like you said, kind of inexcusable. But regardless, it felt like it took a little bit for the coordinators to get their footing. And then once they did, it was like they were off to the races at that point. They were pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, playing your last 4 games against the Giants, Steelers that were falling off the wagon, and Houston and Cleveland. I mean, they just absolutely dominated Houston. I mean,
can we talk
31-2? But having the opportunity to have your bye week late
doesn't look real. That literally
it doesn't.
Does not look real at all. 31-2 is crazy.
Yeah, it does feel very fake, but having the bye week at week 14, the week before coming off a loss to Philly, you get to regroup. You have 4 winnable games down the stretch. They win all 4 of them. Pretty much no issues whatsoever. Take that momentum into the playoffs, and then obviously they went on to handle the Steelers, but that Bills game is just going to leave the such a sour taste in a lot of Ravens fans' mouths until
Yeah, I'm
until
with
this
you.
season starts. But I have a couple Lamar things, but go ahead and touch on any of the stats that you wanted to go over before we
This
touch on.
just some stats. Offensive DVOA plus 72.1%, first in the NFL. Passing, first in the NFL. Rushing, sixth in the NFL. Defensive DVOA, eighth in the NFL. Total team DVOA, sixth best in NFL history. Points per game, third. Yards per game, first. I think that if we didn't have Zach Orr at the helm to start this year and had Mike McDonald, this would have been the number one defense in the entire league. It took a minute for them to kind of get everything figured out. This team is all time. The Ravens are one of my favorite modern teams like ever. Like they haven't have a Super Bowl to show for it, but they are extremely dominant season in and season out, pretty much no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, since Lamar Jackson has got there, they've been one of the best 4 teams in the NFL, 3 teams in the NFL since his arrival to Baltimore.
I I have some shout outs to some players too. I have some stuff about Lamar too. You can go on. I have a page and a half about Lamar, so I'm sorry.
No,
Um,
go ahead. I'll chime in because that's pretty much what all my information is about Lamar as well.
so I want to first start with Derrick Henry. 325 carries, 1900 plus yards, 16 touchdowns, 5.9 yards per carry. That was first. Um, People say that he was going to fall off a little bit. I mean, this guy,
I was hand up. That was me. I was one of those people. I thought he was going to fall off a little bit, and he just absolutely stomped my opinion right into the ground.
and Derrick Henry at this point is almost his significance in NFL history and the running back position as a whole is almost underplayed. He might be one of the most important running backs ever. He's so good, and he's just going to continue to be good until he shows up one season and he's not. I mean, he still looks incredible. Like I'm looking at stuff, not like no Diddy, but he like shows up to camp and he's massive still. Like he's in crazy shape. Like there's nothing that indicates that Derrick Henry still won't be as dominant as he was last year. And the reason why I say that is like his game isn't like being shifty, fast, anything like that. He is deceptively fast once he gets going. But I mean, what is he like 6'4",
Yeah,
250 or something like
he's
that?
built
Like
like a
something
defensive end.
like I think that like we didn't really take into account like that we haven't really seen anybody like this at the running back position before. And I I I hope he has another big year. I used to not be a Derrick Henry fan because of I was always scared of like the decline. And I'm saying all this now, which means he's probably gonna have a crazy decline this year. But he has like transcended that internal like standoffishness that I've had about Derrick Henry like the last like 3 or 4 years of his career.
I mean, he's Brandon Jacobs with modern medicine.
Yeah.
Is what he is. But I think about it. Derrick Henry's probably been the best running back, one of the best running backs like of our adult lives. Not obviously not our entire
Easily.
life, but like he's just been so good year in and year out, and even a drop off from him, I don't think it would be as like mighty of a decline as some of the other running backs that we've seen. Like I remember the DeMarco Murray decline was like one of the most crazy things I've ever seen. Like he went from Dallas to Philly and it looked like he'd never played football.
I think that like I think even Derrick Henry at his worst could pop in 10 touchdowns in a season.
Easily.
Easily. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Um
just being that big of a body at the running back position is crazy.
a few more things I wanted to say about him. Led the NFL in yards after contact, 909, and then led in broken tackles with 42. Just a dog. Somebody who didn't really have statistically as like dominant of an impact, but I really like the jump that I saw from him was like Isaiah Likely. I think that
Yeah.
he could I know that he got banged up and hopefully he's healthy for the season, but he's clearly a dude. Like he's just good at football. Like you watch him on, if he makes a play, you're like, okay, like there's not many guys that can do that, but he can, and he's really talented. So I hope he's healthy this year. And I love the dynamic that Mark Andrews and him could have together on the field.
I have always been very pro Isaiah Likely. I said last year that they need to start figuring out ways to get him the football more, just because he's such a mismatch. Like he's still what, like 6'3", 6'4", but he is much more athletic than a lot of the linebackers that he would end up getting matched up on, and just causes so many issues and so many mismatches for a defense that it's like Darren Waller was pretty good at this. I think Isaiah Likely is almost going to be like what people hoped Evan Ingram could be if he can stay healthy. Like Evan Ingram was a guy that's like more of a wide receiver than a tight end, I would say, but just never really put it together up until like the last season that he had with the Jags.
Sneaky play on Madden is don't draft a tight end until late. Grab Isaiah Likely, change your playbook to the Chiefs playbook, and he's like a superstar after year one. Year one. So
yeah, because they're putting the Chiefs' offenses. Let's put Travis Kelce in the most favorable position possible.
Yeah,
and like it's not like the Ravens have a clear-cut number one bona fide superstar at wide receiver. It's like they're kind of just like Zay Flowers is good. It's just kind of wide receiver by committee. I think Zay Flowers is their best wide receiver, but it's not like I haven't seen Zay Flowers on one top 15, 20 wide receiver list ever.
No,
so like,
I love Zay. I think he's really good, but when you get in the red zone, what is he, like the 8th option? Like, you know, like he had 4 touchdowns last season.
It's Lamar running. It's Derrick Henry running. Mark Andrews probably got
Mark Andrews
demoted a little bit.
Yeah, but he's still up there. Dude, honestly, and even in a year where Lamar threw 41 touchdowns, like he had 4. Like I just think that's something to keep in mind. But to get into Lamar Jackson, I want to apologize to Ravens fans and Lamar fans across the America, the United States,
across the America,
and just apologize because he got absolutely robbed of an MVP and probably one of his best complete seasons to date. Passing yards, almost 4,200 yards passing, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, completion percentage 66.7, passer rating 119.6, 4th highest single season ever. QBR 77.3, league high. Yards per attempt 8.8, NFL leader. EPA per play 1st, success rate 4th, completion percentage over expectation 5th, and then the rushing dynamic of this too: 915 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 6.6 yards per carry, top amongst quarterbacks. And then just a few things, and I want you to chime in as well. First quarterback with 4,000 plus passing yards and 900 rushing yards in a single season. Only one of 2 quarterbacks ever with 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Broke new ground with the 4,200 yards, 915 rushing yards. First in NFL history for a quarterback. First time in NFL history to lead all quarterbacks in both passing and rushing metrics. And then the 119.6 passer rating ranks only behind Aaron Rodgers at 122.5 and 121.5. That was 2 separate seasons. And Peyton Manning at 121.1. He put on an absolute clinic from a passing perspective and a rushing perspective. Whenever you start putting yourself in a category of stuff that has never been done before. That's pretty great. But then also for everybody who sits here and tries to kind of downplay the significance and the talent of Lamar Jackson as a passer, when you're putting him in the same categories as Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning, I mean, he's a rare breed and absolute robbery. He did not win the MVP this year.
I also want to throw out there that he won the MVP in 21 and 23.
Yeah.
He was drastically better this last year than both of those years, and
Crazy.
didn't win an MVP either this season. So that's one thing that I wanted to say that's ridiculous. The other thing that I keep seeing is across social media now is we're approaching the season, but we're still kind of at like a lull period for sports where it's like,
For sure.
yeah, preseason football started, but that's really it. And or college is right around the corner, but people are putting out like their quarterback rankings and tier rankings, and a lot of people are putting like Lamar Jackson as like the third or fourth best quarterback in the NFL in a lot of these rankings, and shouldn't be a list where he's not first or second, in my opinion. So that's a really like confusing thing for me to see. I understand that playoff football does matter, but there's a couple things that I wanted to read off about his playoff stats that are just so significant that play into the fact that like he's really fucking good in the playoffs too. Obviously, turning the ball over like he did against the Bills wasn't great, but he led them down the field and put them in a spot to win. He can't throw and catch the ball on every play.
He did that before.
So
if you remember.
He has done it before, but couldn't do it in that game. So this is hang tight. So in the playoffs, there's 19 quarterbacks that have had 50 plus attempts. So Lamar Jackson is number one in EPA per attempt, throwing outside the numbers, throwing when outside the pocket, early downs without play action, throwing when kept clean, versus zone coverage, versus too high in the fourth quarter, when passing within 2.5 seconds and inside the red zone. So like I would say those are a pretty relevant stats when it comes to winning football games. And if you're able to do those
you could say that.
Probably some of the best numbers in the NFL, then I would say you're probably pretty good. And those are better numbers than like Mahomes, Burrow, you name it. I don't think they're Josh Allen's got some numbers right up there, but like I said, he's the other guy that I think is at the top of the list for the best quarterback in the NFL, but it's undoubtedly some version of him and Josh Allen at 1 and 2.
Yeah, another thing too that Bill Simmons just put out his list, and he has Josh Allen at the top of the pyramid. And the thing that he's like really harping on is like, well, Josh Allen just doesn't like really have any talent around him. Like, well, it's like, well, like has Lamar ever had a top pass catcher ever in his career? No. The guys that he has had around him, he is just strictly elevated. Like I said, like that's why I put him in categories above some of these guys, because no matter who rolls out on that field with him, he is able to produce an explosive passing and rushing offense just based on the back of him. He's the most dynamic rusher in the entire NFL. And that's not even a discussion to be had. I like the way that Josh Allen does run the football, but I think it's fair to say that he's a little bit more physical, and Lamar kind of has a little bit more overall finesse to his game and can kind of make more happen with his feet. But I'm with you. The Lamar Jackson hate where people are kind of downplaying like how great he is and the multiple MVPs. And I mean, it just goes back to even when he came out of college into the NFL, where everyone was like, he's not going to work in the NFL. Everyone. The Ravens even took Hayden Hurst at 20th, I think it was, before they took Lamar at 32. So every team in the NFL, including the Ravens, passed on him. Nobody thought that Lamar would be who he is in the NFL, and he's proven everyone wrong. He's continued to do it. And even now, as he's playing at this elite level, better than the quarterbacks that everybody have at the top of their list, it seems like he is still getting that preconceived hate that dates back the whole way to Louisville. And at this point, this guy does nothing but win, and he does nothing but dominate. So I love Lamar. I think he's by far the best quarterback in the NFL. So Ravens fans, like I said, I'm sorry that he got robbed of an MVP this season, and now apologize. Good way to point this out this offseason, even not getting the same respect as the other guys at the top of the list are getting is absolutely inexcusable.
Yeah, somebody had him at 4th, and I was like, what are we doing? In what world, like, is he not a top 2 quarterback in the NFL? It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Do you have anything else that you want to say about Lamar? That's going to be a great video. I think that video gets a lot of views right there.
I have one thing that I wanted to talk about that I should have thrown it in when we were talking about the playoffs, but something that I feel like is worth noting is just like the way that I formed this was like, what does Lamar Jackson need to improve at when it comes to the playoffs? And what I found after reading up on everything was like, first off, he gets blitzed at a rate that is like 3 times more than anybody else in the NFL. And I feel like that's just a way to like counteract his high playmaking ability as a quarterback is you send blitzes at somebody, force them to get rid of the football, make quick decisions. So for starters, he's blitzed at a rate that's just absolutely ridiculous. And when he's not getting blitzed, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. If you're not blitzing him, I have this here. He's number 1 in EPA per pass. He's number 1 in success rate, number 1 in yards per attempt in the playoffs. That's fucking crazy. When he's not being blitzed, he's the best playoff quarterback. But again, what he needs to get better at and what the Ravens need to do is realize, like, okay, we have the best playoff quarterback on our team. How are we going to be able to set this team up and have easier answers for Lamar or teach him into being able to handle the blitz a little bit better? That's the only thing that is stopping him from playing in a Super Bowl, because the Bills blitzed at like a ridiculous rate when they played them. We saw how he played. He had made some mistakes. The games that they lost against the Steelers, they blitzed him at a crazy rate. The Raiders blitzed him at a crazy rate. Like, if there is one thing that Lamar Jackson needs to work on, it's handling the blitz. But other than that, I mean, you can't be upset at anything else that this guy's doing.
No, you can't. I mean, that's perfect. I think that's a great way to do it. I was about to go into storylines regardless, so that's a good storyline going into last season, going into this season. And another thing is just like these turnovers, like where like Lamar just like has like a dumb fumble, like, you know what I mean, where he's trying to make something happen and he just
at
like
the
has
most
a fumble.
Unfortunate times too.
Yeah,
like there's not a way that you can necessarily 100% mimic that in a practice or in a scrimmage. That's just something that you have to grow as a player in when you're in those moments. It's like, okay, I have to be a little bit more, not necessarily careful, but it's like, all right, I know this moment means a little bit more. Like, I got to be smarter. And the only way that you're practicing that is you're playing in more high leverage moments, high leverage games, which he's going to.
It's just him trying, and he's just trying to win. Like, you know, it's one of those situations like where if he'll like fumble something, like you could like he'll like come off on the sideline like ripping his like chin strap off, like, you know what I mean, like where it's just like, not that guys don't care, I'm not saying that, but like the level of care and how bad Lamar wants it like is never in question, like ever. And it seems like even those turnovers that he makes, it's very like he's trying to make the play, he's trying to make something happen, because at the end of the day, he's the most important player on the field. And you're right. I think he needs to fix untimely turnovers, and great point about the blitz.
The other thing too is probably a little bit of like added pressure in those moments too when you're like, damn, I care about this so much. I want to win so badly. I want to get over this hump and like finally play in an AFC championship game. And it's just like year after year, that pressure builds up. And I'm not saying it, I'm not saying that those moments are too big for him, but like I can't even imagine how he feels when those moments do happen. It's like,
Oh yeah,
damn,
it's
we're
probably
doing this
terrible.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, to move on, 2025 offseason, some roster losses that they had: Deontay Hardy, Deontay Johnson. I mean, he stunk. Chris Board, Malik Harrison, Patrick McCarry, Josh Jones, Travion Mullen, Marcus Williams, Michael Pierce. I think he retired, and then Justin Tucker, who turns out to be a pervert.
Yeah. Who would have thought
So I would
him
have
and Lamar
never
go into the same, or not Lamar, him and
Deshaun Watson.
um,
I would have
Deshaun
never
Watson. Yeah.
guessed. I would have never guessed this Justin Tucker thing in a million years. He just seemed like such like a normal guy. So very interesting.
I don't know now, but now that that allegedly see it, does it make you feel any
I
different?
don't know.
Because now that I know that now that it's alleged and I look at it and I'm like, you
Yeah, I
might
can
be a
see it.
freak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a creep. Yeah. So whatever. That sucks. He shouldn't do that, obviously, and it is gonna taint
Correct.
his career literally forever. I mean,
It's gonna
he's probably
what?
one of the most tarnish. I didn't try that. All right, to move on. Did I miss anybody on the roster losses?
Nelson Aguilar, I don't think is coming back. I could be wrong.
We got to start over then. We got to start this whole thing over. Nah, I mean Nelson Aguilar is like kind of like low key decent for them. Roster additions: D Hop, Ronnie Stanley resigned, Cooper Rush, best backup quarterback in the NFL. Chidobe Awuzie, honestly, love that guy. He was good in his his prime years with the Bengals before he kind of started bouncing around. I like him as a player. Jair Alexander at corner, Pat Ricard resigned, Tylan Wallace, and Adarius Washington. I know what you're gonna say. Calm down on the D Hop stuff, like he's washed, like blah blah blah, this, that, and the third. I genuinely think that, and it's not everybody, but for some reason, players find the fountain of youth in Baltimore, and it's been like Deshaun Jackson like played well for them for some reason. Nelson Aguilar played well for them at times. Derrick Henry's still playing at a high level. I'm not saying that D Hop. I have a D Hop sign ball like right here. I'm not saying that D Hop is going to like come out and have 115 catches and 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns. I do think that he will play a pretty significant role in this defense by just being a sure-handed target, which is funny you say that because of the ball that he dropped in the Super Bowl. But a sure-handed target for Lamar Jackson and a very sneaky red zone threat for them because he still has that body control and ability to make tough catches. I like that aspect of his game going to Baltimore. He's not going to have to do a lot of the dirty work like a Zay Flowers would do or a Mark Andrews would do. He is going to be called on in very specific moments, and I think D Hop can still deliver on those specific moments. You saw him have a little bit of flashes in Tennessee with Will Levis. You saw him have flashes with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. He hasn't really had that stability anywhere in the NFL since he's left Arizona with a full offseason with the Ravens and going into the season knowing that they're about to make a deep run. I actually do. I feel like I'm not gassing it up too much, but I do love this signing for the Ravens. I think that he could play a part in their success this year.
I think there'll probably be like one or two games where he makes a big play But
Yeah.
and that would have been huge for them last year because at the beginning of this, I talked about how they win one of those 4 games, few games that they dropped, and it's a whole different story. They're playing in a home playoff game, but yeah, I mean, he'll probably make a couple clutch plays here or there, but I mean, realistically, he's a 650-yard receiver, maybe like
I think
2,
he
3
has.
touchdowns.
See, this is where I'm disagreeing with you. I think he has 8 touchdowns this season. I think that he is a legitimate threat in the red zone because you just look across the board. Lamar, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman had a decent amount of touchdowns last season. Just like having the ability to have a back shoulder threat in the red zone with him. Like I said, I just could see him. I don't think he has a big year. I think in the touchdown department is where he delivers genuinely.
I just think that Lamar, Derrick Henry are just so reliable in the red zone that like that's something that works really well. I don't
Well, Lamar's
necessarily think it,
rushing touchdowns are like non-existent nowadays.
but
Last 2
the point
seasons.
is like you still have to worry about it. So it's like, okay, well, we have
That's the
Derrick
point.
Henry, but I'm thinking he's probably like I think DeAndre Hopkins will probably be like 1, 2,
Let's
like
just have a gentleman's bet.
the fifth option in the red zone.
Let's just have. I think he's like the third or fourth. Let's just have a gentleman's bet
But
over under 7.5 touchdowns.
let's see what the actual line is. Do you think it's up?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Probably. I mean, I don't know. If you're betting on this, I mean, you have something wrong with you.
Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find it. DeAndre Hopkins touchdowns. Right. Hold on now. If they have a DeAndre Hopkins touchdown bet, okay, they don't even have it on here.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, he had 5 last year, and he was on 2 different teams.
All right, didn't he have 2 in one game though?
But he had 5 last year, and he was
That's
on 2
fair.
different teams.
I'll give you
Something to think about.
7.5. I think 7.5, 8 is probably fine. But that means they're gonna just be, I mean, which I think they're gonna be really good. They'll just be disgusting again on offense.
They probably will be.
Yeah.
They
But at
probably
the
will be.
same time, like some of these other guys, like, dude, there's guys that are number 1 receivers with lines of 7.5.
Yeah, but this team is going to score a ton. We're talking about one of the best off. This is going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL, hands down, bar none.
CD Lamb, his line is 7.5.
I'm just saying. I'm fine. I'm letting you know that's how I think D Hop's going to be impactful. It's just something to think about.
All right, I'll think about it.
And then the draft: Malachi Starks, safety; Mike Green, edge; Emory Jones, tackle; T-Day Buchanan. A lot of these guys, I'm not going to get into it. But the highlight of the Malachi Starks safety and Mike Green at edge. The Malachi Starks is like one of like the Emeka Ibuka situations where it's like this guy, if you are going to tell, like, is he going to be like a gold jacket? Like, probably not, but is he going to like walk into the NFL and be able to start immediately because of his IQ and how good he is? Yes. And they got a guy to play next to Kyle Hamilton, who's also a very talented, high IQ player. Match made in heaven. Then the Mike Green situation, he fell to the second round due to some allegations. If you look at Mike Green and what he did in college, not on the off-field stuff, I can't really speak on that. I don't know. But on-field production, this dude knows how to rush the passer. Literally, first thing that happened was in the preseason game, is his leg was like bent, like at a ridiculous angle, and it like went viral on like social media. If you look at what he did in college, he was just a production freak, and getting to put him on this defense, when the Ravens got him, I immediately was like, oh wow, like the Ravens actually just added a dog at edge.
Yeah, the other addition to that secondary, Jair Alexander, I know that he's kind of had some injuries, but if you get him healthy and you have him as your opposite corner of Nate Wiggins and then Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton over the top, like that's a pretty scary secondary.
I mean, brother, the secondary needs to be highlighted, but
And Marlon Humphrey in the slot too.
Just the defense. I just want to highlight the defense in totality. Kyle Hamilton, I'll allude to this later on. I mean, he's a defensive player of the year candidate. Roquan Smith. I mean, how dumb are the Bears for letting Roquan Smith go? He is probably a 1B to Fred Warner. He impacts the game so heavily. Justin Matabuke, great DN, mixture of like run stop and impacting the rushing game, edges. Kyle Van Noy has been really good. Adafeowe has been the hit that Adafeowe put on
Richardson.
Anthony Richardson the other night, sent him into the oblivion. And then you add Mike Green. And then this secondary, like I said, Kyle Hamilton, Malachi Starks, Jair Alexander, if he can stay healthy, and even if he's not healthy, when he's in games, he can kind of impact the game in splashes. Nate Wiggins, fast and long. And then Marlon Humphrey in the nickel, and then the depth that they have. Chidobe Awuzie, I said it before, and then TJ Tampa, who was out of Iowa State, who was their draft pick last year. I thought he was going to be a pretty decent player. I love everything about this defense, front and back. And then you get year 2 of Zach Orr, who showed that he was able to kind of get everything together. This from probably the midway point the whole way to the end of the season last year. Yeah, I mean, what's not to love about this defense is going to be legitimately nasty.
It's going to be disgusting. And it was led last year by Kyle Van Noy with 12.5 sacks, the savvy veteran.
Yeah, so he's good.
He still has plenty of ball left. And they have like a nice mixture of experience all while incorporating some younger guys on in this defense. And really that's like all you can ask for if you're trying to build a championship caliber defense, which this absolutely is.
100%. I just want to give the offseason grade real quick, and then we can get into the rest of this, but I give them a B+. I love everything that they did leading up to the draft. And then I think they absolutely nailed the draft with their first 2 picks. I think both of those guys are going to play meaningful snaps for them on defense. Yeah, I just love everything they did. So,
yeah, I think Malachi Starks is actually projected to start, and then Mike Green is just going to come in and just be a straight pass rusher, wreak havoc anytime that they're in obvious passing situations, and I expect him to eventually begin to play more and more and more as the season goes along.
Love it. To get into this upcoming season, their Vegas win totals 11.5 games, kind of the same that we've been seeing across the board here with the top teams. To win the NFC North, -140, AFC Chip +350, Super Bowl +650, Lamar MVP +550, Derrick Henry Offensive Player of the Year +1,800, Kyle Hamilton Defensive Player of the Year +5,000, or Roquan Smith Defensive Player of the Year +1,500. Drastically different odds going into this season for Lamar Jackson than last season. If you remember, when I saw the odds last year for Lamar that were at +1,000, I was like, this makes no sense. If Lamar Jackson plays a full season, he wins an MVP. Like that's been
it should have been,
yeah, it should have been the last season too. So we're starting to see that reflect. And then obviously, I even think them at -140 to win the AFC North. I mean, people still overinflating the Bengals going into this season,
and the Steelers.
I mean, this is something would have Lamar would have to go down with a season-ending injury for them to not be, in my opinion, a very overwhelming favorite. If you have a bunch of money, which I don't, so I'm not going to place like a massive future or anything, but -140 on them to win the AFC North, I feel like is great odds.
Yeah, it should be much higher than that, It should be like minus 175, minus 200
Yeah, I was gonna
at
say
least.
bigger than that, but pause. But you know what I mean.
Yes. Yes.
Um, any one? What do you think about the win total? Anything that sticks out to you that I didn't say? Just let me know.
Did you say Mike Green for defensive rookie of the year?
I did not.
He has his odds are plus 1400. I feel like anytime that there's like a good team, it's probably good to highlight a rookie that they got if it's like not necessarily an offensive lineman, because I feel like that kind of plays a little bit into it. I feel like teams that are a little bit better get a little bit more love when it comes to their rookies if they're coming in and also being impactful. So something to consider. And it's going to
One
be
that
so hard to win defensive rookie of the year as a safety. I think you stand a much better chance as a defensive lineman.
if you get to the quarterback for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing that I love actually is Lamar Jackson to finish the season with the most passing yards. This is a value play. Plus 4,200, massive odds. Like you're getting the juice is worth the squeeze. Like I'm not saying put your life savings on it, but Lamar finished 5th in passing last season, and a lot of the times in the second half of games they were running the football, and there were blowouts. So if Lamar and the Ravens play in close games, I think that his ceiling is a lot higher than what we've already seen so far for Lamar. Do I think that he has as many passing touchdowns as he did last year? Probably not. But if I think that he can exceed expectations passing, when I think like a guy like Baker Mayfield would probably take a step back, when I think a guy like Jared Goff could take a step back, is Lamar Jackson one of those guys could take a step forward? I think that he's proven that he could be. So I love that bet at plus 4,200.
I mean, even Sam Darnold, Lamar was 6th in pass yards last year, behind Burrow, Goff, Mayfield, Geno, and Sam Darnold. So I think that's probably a pretty good value play as well. I don't think Jared Goff is going to throw for 4,600. I don't think Baker Mayfield's going to throw for 4,500, and I'll be damn sure if Sam Darnold throws for 4,300 yards next year.
I completely agree with you.
So at that point, your competition is pretty much like Joe Burrow. I don't know if Geno's going to throw for 4,300, but
probably not.
I'm
Not with
not
that
going
skill group.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the rest of this list. Like Jordan Love got hurt, so he missed a couple games. Like he's probably another guy that could
be
throw
sneaky,
that could throw for a lot. But some of these, like, I don't think Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Rodgers.
No.
Herbert. Who knows?
No.
Brock Purdy. Who knows? They have injury issues with their wide receivers. Like for plus 40. But what did you say the odds were? Plus what?
Plus 4,200.
Yeah, I think that's certainly worth unit.
It's just not worth like what he actually is on the field and what is like the odds for that just doesn't really match up, and for me at least. So yeah, I love that bet. I placed it a little bit ago, but yeah, I think that'll be good. And really what it comes down to is Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow is going to have overinflated stats every single year just based on his weapons. I mean, he obviously has T. Higgins, who's really, really good, but we've talked about it countless times. Like, how many quarterbacks get to play with as talented of a receiver as Jamar Chase and have it be his college teammate as well? I mean, it's like almost unheard of. So,
yeah, and they're going to be in shootouts all season long, so they're just going to have to throw the football all over the field.
Definitely. All right, well, let's do it. Let's do the 2025 season prediction. I'm going to go first. I have this as best record in the NFL. I have them at 15-2. They have pretty much everything the same. Coaches, key players, added a bunch of players in free agency who I think are going to help them year one, drafted a bunch of young players who are going to be studs who think they help year one. And this is my team that I'm picking to win the Super Bowl this year. I love the Ravens this season. I absolutely love everything about their offense. Like, I can go on and on for days, but I think something that's really going to take a step forward from they were 6th last year. I think either 1 or 2 this season, going all year long, is this defense is going to be absolutely breathtaking. Not breathtaking. What's the word that I'm trying to say?
Suffocating.
Suffocating.
Synonym.
Same thing.
Pause. Yeah, so before I say what I think before I give you my record prediction, I want to throw a couple things out here. So the rest advantage, they have rest advantage in three of their games versus the rest disadvantage in 4 of their games, but for the season total, they have a rest advantage overall, which obviously helps. It played into it a little bit more last year. And this year their bye is week 7 as opposed to week 14. But their first couple games are going to be really tough. They've got Buffalo, home against Cleveland, the Lions, the Chiefs, Texans, Rams. So like that first 6 game stretch of the season is probably going to be the more difficult portion of it. And if you're able to get out of that with like 5 wins, they're smooth sailing. But so with that being said, I actually have them going 13-4. I do have them winning their division, and I do have them getting over the hump and making it to the Super Bowl as well.
Love it. Well, it sounds like we're on the same page.
I just think that Lamar's been playing at just a crazy level. They bring a lot of guys back. Their defense on paper is better somehow. And
crazy.
Those same issues that they had at the beginning of last season and those same growing pains of learning a new defense, getting everything in order, they don't really have that. So I just expect this defense to basically continue on. I know that you have to get Jair Alexander and Malachi Starks up to speed, but like those two, like Jair Alexander, when healthy, has played at a pretty high level in the NFL, and Malachi Starks is coming from a Herald program in Georgia, so like seems like a pretty smart guy, pretty cerebral football player.
I thought their coach was Kirby Smart, not Herald.
Yes, correct. Yes.
My bad. So yeah, shout out Ravens fans. I love you guys. They're my favorite team in the NFL, pretty much.
I want an Eagles Ravens Super Bowl so badly.
Well, the Eagles don't have a chance this year. So that's impossible, dude.
I know. It sucks.
I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a passion. Collect the stacks and bring it back, man, and take vision.